Aloha kupuna. My name is Frank De Lima. And during this COVID time, I'm sure all of you would love to have a little bit of comedy, so I was invited to do this little video. And so I'm going to introduce myself formally. My name is Frank Wilcox Napua Kekaulike De Lima Jr. I was born on this island of Oahu, raised in Paoa Valley, and I've been a comedian now for 45 years. I'm a kupuna too. I just made 71. And when I did my shows in Waikiki, the tourists used to come up to me and they'd say, "Mr. De Lima, you have such a nice sounding Hawaiian name." And I said, "My grandma gave it to me." And they said, "And it's such a long name." And I said, "Not that long. Hawaiians, so they give people or things names. They give them names a mile long. Names like Me ke aloha mai kai pumehana noho iwai ana ole ki iala oko pukalani ya 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 oi hula halau. Chinese, on the other hand, have thousands of characters in their alphabet. But they only give one syllable name to each person. Wong. So tight, just one syllable per person. And then you got the Filipinos. Filipinos love the letter A. They cram as many A's as possible into one name. Names like Quinsaat, Kabakungan, Makadangdang, Kabababayan. And then there's the Japanese. Japanese are very precise, very neat. Their names are like squares with 4 sides. Ariyoshi, Watanabe, Hanabusa, Hanakuso, Hanabata. And then there's the Koreans. Koreans have an ancient style of naming their children. What they do is they get tiles like dominoes, and they carve one syllable name on each tile. Names like Ji, Te, Song, Moon. And then they turn the tile upside down on the table, and when the baby is born, they pick 3 tiles, and that's the name of the kid. Ji, Young, Cho. Te, Wook, Ho. Song, Song, Blue. Kimchi, Tu. Buy me drink. Now, it was fun growing up in Paoa Valley, and I think I started entertaining when I was just a little kid. By the time I was 9 years old, I'd had my first costume character. And it was a Japanese naniwabushi man. What happened was, I hung out with my friends in Pakohana Street at Paoa. There were like 5 of us. And all different ethnics came from the homes on that street. They all had grandparents that spoke the language of the culture they were from. And so I learned all these different languages, if not learning it for real, just picking up the sounds and making up my own. And we used to watch Japanese television next door to Yoneshige's. And it was samurai movies. And there was one favorite that all of us liked. And he was like our idol, was a Japanese teenager who was a wind god. He had mystical powers and he used to fight crime. I even remember the song, Kino wa nagawa kaze kozoru, daio ichi ichi doru pam param pam pam, gyunyu, gyunyu, dang darang dang 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 darang dang dang, makeru na, bom makeru na ne, kaze kozo. Well, one Sunday afternoon, kaze kozo was preempted. They had the Naniwabushi singing contest. So old Japanese men, senior citizens, would have the headband with the red dot, and they would have yukata on. And they would, they all compete for this style of Japanese singing from way back in the old days. Like, and it sounded like this. What does she say? And it looked like this. Nani wa buhushi sanju no. Well, the guys, they all said, forget this. And they went out and played. But not me. I'm the little imitator. I couldn't wait to go home, practice in front of the mirror. So I went home and I looked all over the house for one quilt that my mom had. She had this stitch quilt with aloha print material, colorful, just like the yukata that the old men wear. And so I threw it over my shoulders. And then I got my dad's belt and I tied it. Then I got one old sheet, made a headband. Got my mom's old lipstick, made the dot. Now I'm ready. So I packed my gear. I went next door to the Yoneshiges. I told them, I got one show for you. So they put me in the bedroom. I was only 9. And so I went in the bedroom. I dressed. I walked out. I didn't have to sing. They bust out laughing at the outfit. And then I started to sing. What the you? And they crack up laughing. They loved it so much, they gave me quarter. That was my first paid gig, ladies and gentlemen, 25 cents. And then there's my Chinese neighbor up the street, Mrs. Lee. She was my babysitter from 2 years old until 5. So every day I used to hear her talking Chinese. The aunt and her used to talk together at lunchtime. The aunt would visit. So I heard, 我知道118大姑同公牛呀. Well, I started imitating it. One day I stood up and I started talking to them. And they cracked up laughing. And Mrs. Lee said, well, you sound like it, but no make sense. I can speak like that for 1 hour today and not know what I'm talking about. But if any Chinese person ever challenged me and say, De Lima, you don't know what you're talking about, I say, hey, there's 856 dialects in China. I'm speaking the one you don't know. And then there's my Filipino neighbor across the street, Tata. Tata used to have plants in the yard. He used to have dogs in the back. And he used to have chickens and roosters, and typical Filipino man. And very friendly, and he was good with the kids. He used to blow the whistle. We'd go over to his house, and he had budbud, peche-peche, badoya, koscaron, bibingka, suman, diring-daring, darang-darang, all the favorite foods, and most of them desserts. And little did I know that one day I would need all of this information. The names of the plants were soloyot, kalamungay, and then the eggs that were on his kitchen sink. That every time I went, same eggs. And I said, Tata, how come you never eat the egg yet? He said, I'm waiting till the thing ferment. And he said, it becomes balut. And I said, balut. And so he opened up one and he said, try. So I tried. Oh my gosh. I could feel the beat going down my throat when I took. At any rate, so I did a song, a Filipino Christmas song, and for fun, and I put all the words I learned from when I was growing up, Filipino words, and it came out like this: Makadangdang sa loyot, peligot tangalagala bud 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 bud. Ay sos biligot na biliboy susara silitoy tu. Makadangdang sa loyot, biligot tangalagala bud 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 bud. Ay sos biligot na biliboy susara silitoy tu. Palut 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 tito it kalamunggay. Yotsoy aryambangdang dito. Bagaong 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 dito it kalamunggay. Oto takdambari ang siriyambangdang dito. Makadangdang saloyot biligot tanggalagada budbud budbud. Ay sos biligot na biliboy susara silisoy su. Hear the dog in the valley, arf, 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 arf. And the chicken in Kalihi, little do they know they're going to be adobo. Dinner for the Filipino clan, pom pom, oh come all you people, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come you, oh, come you, to Eba Beach. Come to Wailua and Kalihiuka. You'll find us in Waipa. Woo! Everybody, find us in Waipa. Woo! You'll find us in Waipa. Who and now kapole. Amen. Maligayang Pasko sa inyong lahat. So all these things that I grew up with became part of my routine, and it's all in stories of true events, of true things that I've learned, and just put it all together into a fun local style humor show. and I share this kind of humor with you. You know, there was my Korean neighbor down the street, Mrs. Kim. I picked up some Korean from her too. Like, for example, you know, what happened was we were playing football on the street, and she told us to play up the street because she didn't want the ball break her plants. So we played up the street, but one day I missed the pass, and the ball went right into the plants. I had to be the one to go get them. So I sneak into her yard. I look around. I don't see her. And then I go into the plants. I almost get my hands on the ball. And I hear, "천만이가 확십니다. 두릅을 나합니다." Oh, I thought one mongoose was in the plants, man. But that's what happens when Koreans get excited. Come out, you know. Anyway, so that's the childhood stories, how I started. I just imitated and put things together. I used to entertain the neighborhood. The whole neighborhood would come for Christmas or whatever into our garage, and then I'd be the comedian with the costumes and everything. But I didn't think that I was going to be a comedian growing up. This was a natural thing. All through school, I was the one that was the MC throughout high school, and then I decided I want to go to the seminary. So I went to the seminary, and that's where you study to be a priest. So when I went in, you know, it was hard because, you know, in high school, you know, you're just living a really local boy life, you know, and I couldn't play football. My mom didn't let me. So the priest, the brother in charge, he says, "You're going to be on the, they call it the pep squad." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "You're going to be working with the girls." I said, "Okay." And so he brought that idea from the mainland. We didn't have such a thing in Hawaii. It was only cheerleaders, girls in skirts doing the pom-poms. And so what we had to do, it was more like, gymnastics. So we had to work out with the football team, lift weights with the football team. And, you know, we had to lift because, you know, some of those girls, you know, we had to put them on our shoulders. We had to do human pyramids. So that's three in a row on our shoulders, and then two more up, and then one on the top. And that's heavy. And the other time we just put one. Some of those girls were from Waianae, you know, big girls. So we had to bench press at least 250. You know what I mean? 275. Get those girls on our shoulders. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. And so I graduated, but throughout my life I was heavy Catholic. Parents are Catholic. We did a lot of Catholic things. Learned a lot. Learned deep stuff about Catholic religion. And so I went seminary. I was in for 8 years. And then the entertainer was getting stronger and stronger. So I decided, instead of being the minister, I said, I have to look and see into that other career first. And so I became entertainer for my brother-in-law's tour company. Played Hawaiian music, told Portuguese jokes in between for the tourists. They had Nufi jokes, but same thing, Portuguese jokes, Polak jokes. And so, and then I had a song that I put together. We did it in the seminary, just fooling around. I used to create all kinds of these silly songs, and this one was a Portuguese fight song. We get 10,000 men still yet, and we gonna win this game, you bet. We get Vieira, Teixeira, Gomes, and Oliveira. Yeah, 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 yeah. We get 10,000 men still yet, and we gonna win this game, you bet. We get Ornelas, Capales, Abud, and Vasconcelos. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pork and beans and gravy. Join the Portuguese Navy. Fight, fight, fight for Portugal. Beans, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. The more you toot, the better you feel. So let's have beans at every meal. Pork and beans and gravy. Join the Portuguese Navy. Fight, fight, fight for Portugal. And I used to tell Portuguese jokes. Like, the first Portuguese joke I caught on to was told by this Portuguese man, bald head with one barriga, big one. And it's a beer belly in Portugal, barriga. I'm sure some of you, kupuna, know that word. But anyway, so he used to tell jokes. Now, I was just a little kid, like, 7, 8 years old. And I caught on to the first time I caught on to a Portuguese joke. Before that, everybody was laughing. He was the MC for a lot of luau our family went to. And so I just laughed along. He looked funny. Little did I know, though, one day I was going to end up looking like him. Bald head with one barriga. But you know what? God takes good care of us. He closes one door, he opens another. As the hair is falling off my head, it's growing on my back. Okay? And when it completely falls off, I can take the hair from my back and comb it over. So, everything working. Now, here's the first joke I caught on to. Mano and Joaquin driving to the airport. Saw the sign said airport left. So they turned around, went home. You laughing? I hope so. I was only 7 when I caught on to that joke. Here's another one. Mary and Mano. I'm sorry. Masa. Let's say Masa. Japanese guy and Mary, okay? Portuguese lady. They're working in an office together. And Masa is complaining. He says, you know, I'm stressed out, man. I need a few days off. But I know the boss not going to give me some days off. And so Mary says, yeah, it is kind of rough, yeah? So then what he does is, in order to get the day off, he hung from the ceiling. And Mary goes, what the hell are you doing? And he goes, I'm a light bulb. And she goes, a light bulb? He said, yes, I'm a light bulb. And just then, the boss walks in. Masa, what you doing? He says, I'm a light bulb. Oh boy, you really snapping, brother. I think I better give you 3 days off. You're just too stressed out. Go ahead, take 3 days off. So, Masa comes down, packs his stuff, and leaves. Mary is following him. And the boss says, hey, Mary, where are you going? She said, I'm going home. I cannot work in the dock. Laughing? Hope so. At any rate, I can't hear anything, by the way. This is like telling comedy and not getting response. So, at any rate, so I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I did for the governors. We had all kinds of governors, yeah? And Governor Ariyoshi was the first governor that, when I was first starting my career. I did songs for the governors. As they left, you know, they finished their term, I would dedicate a song to them. I like to do this medley for you. Starting out with Governor George Ariyoshi. I'm sure, Kupuna, you remember him. He's the one that used to, you know, whenever he talked when he was happy, he always had that, like trying to chase the fly off his eyebrow. Okay. Georgie, goodbye, George Ariyoshi. Thanks for building the stadium and the H1 freeway. We remember the good things you did for Hawaii, and we'll never have to look at this anymore. Why, hey, why, hey, Ben, our Filipino superstar, Ben, we never thought you'd get this far. Ben, you're powerful and strong as Bagaong. You may be 4'10", but everyone loves Ben. And then there's Linda Lingo. Furlough. Friday coming, we gotta stay home. Furlough day is low. Friday come and we gotta stay home. We go to school to learn to read. Friday come and we gotta stay home. More days, not less, is what we need. Friday come and we gotta stay home. Misa day, misa week, misa month, we all fall behind. Friday come and we gotta stay home. And then there's Neil Abercrombie. I don't have a song for him because his term was too short. I'm working on EGA though. Get plenty. We'll see what happens. At any rate, I really enjoyed entertaining all of you today. And I'd like to end with a joke, a very short joke. Okay? Again, my name is Frank De Lima. You take care of yourselves, Kupuna. If you go out, always wear a mask. Okay? And make sure that you are protected. Have family members make sure you're taken care of. Friends and whatever. Let's hope that this thing goes away soon. We get the vaccine and all the life goes back to normal. But until then, keep laughing, okay? Here's my final. This atheist was in the woods and a bear came after him. And the atheist got so scared, he looked up to heaven and said, "Oh my God, help me, a bear is coming after me." And a voice from heaven came down and said, "Does it mean you want to be a Christian?" The atheist think a little bit. "No, make the bear a Christian." The bear, almost ready to attack, and a miracle happened. The bear's paws came together in prayer form. The bear looked up to heaven and said, "Bless this food which I'm about to eat." Bam, 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 bam. Bye.